So.
Hello, today I have a special interview with Phil. Hiya, Phil. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Phil Bruce, cover model from sunny Stoke-on-Trent. Yes, looking forward to this wonderful interview with you, Donny. It's going to be very good.
Yes. So for anyone that doesn't know, would you like to tell them what a cover model is and what they do?
Yeah, so for me, it's like I've been on various different themes, different genres of books. Yeah, that's how we say it in Stoke. We say books. But yeah, it's like, so photographers or authors will get in touch. They might see a certain image from the work and the content that I do that they think could fit a certain element or a certain character. So they'll get in touch, and then essentially the process will then be through agreeing it with the author and the photographer, and you end up being on the cover of that author's that book, or it could be an individual book or a series, which I've been on both. So yeah, that's where it can come from. It can just come from images, or it can come from an author that's kind of pre-planned it. They might look at you and automatically think, right, okay, we want you to do a shoot covering certain themes, and they could be your 3 or 4 books of the series. Or it might be literally, I put a picture on Facebook and Instagram, an author might look at it and think, do you know what, actually that picture it's giving me a character in mind, or I've got a book coming up. And you'd be amazed at how they find you and what comes up, really. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the way it traditionally works. Or you might even just message an author on Facebook and go and say, you know, I've just done this shoot, there's a couple of images here, knowing what their themes are, could that interest you? And again, we've managed to get them through that as well. So, you know, there's various ways of being able to get on the book covers. So, you know, it's a good experience and something that I enjoy doing.
And how did you come to be a cover model?
By accident, if I'm being totally honest. I think I'd had a shoot, I want to say, it was on my Facebook memory. Today was my first ever book cover. I think it was 4 years ago today it got released. But it was a shoot in Shrewsbury. It was myself and a female model, Kate Bohr, I think her name was. And we were actually asked to do pictures for a completely different book cover. That fell through. And then just this, you know, an author saw the pictures that we did, and, you know, she just really liked him and wanted it for her work. Gemma Christie, her name was, and that's kind of how it worked, just through accident. You know, it wasn't planned for me. The photographers just put us in touch and gone through there, and it just had a bit of a spurt of book covers that came from there. Really, it's funny how it works.
Do you have a favourite book cover that you're on?
Good question. Very good question. You'd argue and say that one, in the sense that it was the first. You know, it was the one that started us. But I don't know. I think they've all been nice in their own ways. You know, we've had Erin Trejo's I've been on, Mina Carter's, Ruth Rendell's, Samantha Young, Scott Leclerc, who was my PA for a few years, to be fair to her. I love Scarlett to death. She's ace. We've had, you know, I think there's 10. Nicole Garcia is another one that I'm on the book cover of. So yeah, I think they all bring their own different elements to it, and it's hard to just pick one. But again, I think that first one, in the sense of just because it's helped to start off what has essentially been this aspect of my career, and I'm grateful for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And is there any themes or anything that you wouldn't do?
I don't know. I mean, I think, I've been on so one of Nicole's is an theme, which again, I mean, as a straight guy myself, I advocate the LGBT plus community, because I've got a lot of friends that are gay, lesbian, transgender, and what have you. I've got a lot of friends that are that. So, I encourage it, and I manage a women's football team, and I'd probably say most of our players are gay. Which again is something that I've embraced. But I'd say, I don't know, probably stuff I wouldn't do as like full adult, just because I've got a soccer school business that I've done, that I do, and the women's football team and exercise instructor. So I'm careful on that. But to be fair, I think the majority of book covers I'm fine with, because at the end of the day, it's a character. It's not actually, do you know what I mean? So it's coming out, it's not actually me. It's not written about me. It's using my face or my perception for the character that the reader and the audience are then going to take their judgments and their views of, really.
Are you a big reader? Are you ever interested in the books that you're a cover model for?
I like reading a lot, but to be fair, I've kind of had this dichotomy of part of me I don't really read the ones that I am on, because I like, and again, I don't know if you've heard this from other cover models or other people, but I like the mystery in a way, and so when I go to book cover signings, and people speak to me, it's actually interesting to hear their views, and you might go, oh, what's it about, what do you think it's about, rather than, I think if I read it, I think I read one, but I'd rather do it and they tell me what they think, rather than going in there with a bit of a closed mind, having read it and thought, well, I see it as this and you might see it differently, but this is how I see it. I'd rather go in and have that mystery of not knowing at the same time. So yeah, I'd say that's my aspect to it. I mean, that might change over time, but that's just how I currently feel. I'd like that kind of thing of not knowing.
Are there any authors you're particularly looking forward to catching up with or meeting at Tales on Trent?
So, to be fair, I think with having COVID over, the COVID being around for the last couple of years, I haven't really seen many of them face to face in a good while. So I'd say pretty much everyone that I've met so far, and I think I always like seeing some of the new ones as well, kind of hearing their stories about how they've got into it, and maybe getting new contacts and connections that might want me on their books. We don't know, but I'd say rather than an individual, I think it's a group and a collective of people that it'll be just nice to meet people again and actually have that physical contact and that physical connection, rather than doing it online all the time or speaking to him on the phone. It'll actually be nice to see him again.
Yeah, and how much do you know about the authors of other genres
in the set? I'd say I know bits and bobs, and to be fair, I do have a look when I'm on social media. It's always nice seeing what books and stories they've released, and from that you kind of gather the concept of how they write and what themes they are, and to me, I do think it's really, really refreshing, as I say, to see like your LGBT books and your stuff written, because I think probably you'd argue 5-10 years ago even, not many people would have written them. I think people would have been too scared to do that and push that envelope, but I think it's really important that they do. So I'd say, yeah, that's always nice, as I say, to see that genre. But I like that thought of, like, I could be an model, but a character in one book. I could be, I don't know, I could be a superhero on another, I could be a villain on another, I could be like a motorcyclist kind of theme on another. And it's quite cool to think, right, I can pull that character off and give people that imagination. So yeah, I do keep tabs on things like that, but again, I try not to let it consume me, because I like coming in with an open view on it.
When you're not posing and not managing the women's football team, what else do you like to get up to with your time?
Yeah, so I'm an exercise instructor, sports massage therapist, personal trainer. So I'm teaching classes throughout the week, Monday to Friday, in the mornings, at night. So I will do sports massage for clients, PT for clients as well. And then I've got my dog, Eddie, a Labrador Retriever. He's 20 months old. He's just asleep at the moment, thank God. But now he's like literally my best mate, and it's just nice to be able to play and take him for walks and, and that kind of thing. And for me, there's nothing really better than getting home from a hard day like teaching or whatever you're doing, or a shoot or a signing, to have him just snuggling and being able to play and that kind of thing. So I wouldn't say I live the most eventful life outside of it, just because the life and the career that I have is quite eventful. So it's actually just nice to relax and kind of unwind and just take the simple approach. That's what I'd say, I think.
And how did your family and friends react to what you do? Do they think it's cool?
Yeah, they do. I mean, it was one of those, as I say, I think the modelling, I've done, I want to say about 12 years now, started local and then built it up over time to get national and international. And they do, and they think it's cool. And I know, like, to be fair, it kind of complements the other work that I do. So it's like, as a exercise instructor and a PT, it's actually nice that there's a face that some people might recognise, or they might recognise that, you know, I'm not 5% body fat, I don't want to be overly ripped, but I'm healthy. So it's the message that you portray within what you're doing. So as I say, that's quite a nice kind of concept and thing, really. So yeah, you know, they're pretty accepting of it, and long may that continue.
Yeah. Will we see anything new from you before the event in May?
I hope so. I know we were saying before this is like, as a cover model, you can have like a period where book covers get announced straight away or within a little time, or it could be years, months, years that it doesn't. And there's a number of book covers that I've agreed that I'm on, and I'm just waiting for them to come out. So as I say, I'm praying that some of them come out before, as I say, before May. So that'll be nice. And just literally watch this space, because I don't know. I really hope so. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, I can't think of any more questions, but if anyone would like to get in touch and find out more about you, where can they do so?
Yeah, sure. So you can have me personal profile on Facebook, Phil Bruce. If you want to go on my main work one, just type in official Phil Bruce. That's on Facebook and Instagram. Feel free to follow that, and we'll put and to be fair, there's like daily content, which is usually like a mixture of the modelling work plus the classes and kind of like the personal stuff with Eddie, my dog, as well, and the other stuff. So yeah, people are more than welcome to follow me on there, and it would be great to connect and chat to authors as well, if they want to work with us on their kind of books and their themes in the future. So yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Fabulous. Well, thank you very much, and we shall look forward to meeting you next May.
Yeah, likewise. Bring it on. Thank you, dog.